to another creative campfire. I'm Susan Riley, and I am joined again by my daughter, Emma. Emma is joining us to lead us to another creative exercise tonight, another visual art creative exercise. So what are we doing tonight?
Tonight we're going to be making leaves out of paper.
Okay, so give us an overview of what exactly are we going to do with these leaves?
So we're going to be sketching out a leaf. Make sure it's not one of those leaves that you just make two little lines. And
you'll go through this in more detail,
right?
I
will.
Okay.
And then we're going to fill in our leaves with a pattern of colors.
Okay.
And then we're going to take a marker, a pen, or whatever, and we're going to make a mandala inside of our leaf, or something similar to a mandala. And then if you have popsicle sticks, we can attach one to the bottom.
Okay, so speaking of that, what are the materials that we're going to need for this activity?
We're going to need one sheet of paper.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to need a black marker or pen or something, black something. We're going to need a pencil.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to need your medium. Again, a medium is something that you create with. I personally like colored pencils, but you can use watercolor, marker, tempera paint, anything that you have.
Mm-hmm.
Oil pastels, crayons. And if you want, and if you have any, you can take a popsicle stick, and we'll use that later.
Okay. All right, so what's the first step for today?
First step, we're going to sketch out a leaf, something similar to a maple leaf. Don't just make a leaf where it's two lines that go up and make...
Okay, so when we're looking at leaves, there's lots of different kinds of leaves. So there's like broad, flat leaves that make this basic shape. What Emma's talking about is a maple leaf, and those are the ones that typically fan out.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you think about a fan, that is what she is talking about.
And it can be really hard, but try your best. And
all right, so Emma's going to move to sketching out her leaf. And while she's doing that, I want to talk about the idea of this does not have to be perfect. And so we're not giving you a template because we want to see what kind of leaves you do. Maybe you don't want to do a maple leaf. Maybe you want to do an oak leaf and you have lots of different shapes in there. The idea here, though, is that everybody's is going to look different. Everybody's is going to be perfect for what you're creating. So don't get all stressed out about what leaf you're making. Look to make it yours. That's the important part. All right, so Emma's making her leaf. And I like how she's just keeping it simple with just a bunch of rectangles, of triangles. And that's the cool part about drawing. You could just use shapes and create something interesting, right?
yes.
Okay, so, and you're going to use the popsicle stick for the bottom, right?
Yeah.
So we're not going to draw a bottom on there, right? But if people don't have a popsicle stick, can they draw the bottom?
Yes, they can just draw a line.
Can you show them how to do that?
Yeah. So you just take your pencil and you just kind of create a line. If you want to make it thicker, you can add a second line.
And then just fill it in?
Yep.
Okay. Okay, so what's next?
So next, we're going to fill in our leaf with pattern of colors. So for this project, I'm using monochromatic colors, which are colors within the same family. So for us, we're going to use all the blues. You can use all the oranges, or you can use analogous colors, which are colors that are next to each other on the color wheel, like red and orange. You can use whatever pattern of colors you want.
So they could just do a rainbow if they wanted,
Yeah.
right? But you're going to use monochromatic colors.
Yes.
All right, you go ahead and do that. While she's doing that, I'm going to talk about that a little bit. So we're using that big vocabulary again, my friends, monochromatic, which means one color. That's one chromatic color. So Emma has chosen a variety of different colors within that same color family of blues, making it a monochromatic work. This is not as fully monochromatic as possible because there's a little bit of that green in there. However, she talked about analogous colors. And analogous colors, when you think about color, and I hope you're coloring in right now. I'm just giving you some background information. Go ahead and do that pattern. The analogous colors are the ones that are beside each other on the color wheel. So for example, maybe you have orange and right beside that is a yellow. Okay, so those would be analogous colors because they're living beside each other. Or blue and purple, those are living beside each other. Okay, so that's what we're talking about when she talks about analogous colors. Right now, though, she's trying her best to do in monochromatic. You use whatever colors you want. All right, Emma, what kind of a pattern are you using tonight?
I'm going to use a radial design. I did use a radial design in the mosaic, as you might remember. So a radial design, just to refresh your memory, is a design that goes around in a circular pattern.
Okay, right, because it comes from that word radius, which means around, right? So we look at the radial patterns here. Here's the cool part about the arts. No matter what arts you're looking at, and we've done a lot with visual art, we're going to work on some music as well. But the cool part about the arts is that they connect with everything, because that's what my job is. My job is to help teachers show you and help you work through connecting the arts across everything that we do, because they're everywhere. There's art whenever you look outside, and depending on the color of the day, whether it's gray or bright and sunny or blue skies.
Today in Maryland, it's very gray.
In Maryland today, it's very gray. That's right. So there's literally art in everything, but there's also math everywhere, and there's reading everywhere, and there's science everywhere. What's so cool about this is that we can connect to all kinds of things. So especially now, I think that's really important, especially now, because it's hard for all of us to connect with one another. And so finding ways to make connections, no matter where they live, is important. So I like how you're doing this design here, Emma, that it's kind of, it starts round like a circle, and now it's just kind of going into that arc shape, right?
Yeah.
Very cool. Parents, as you're helping your children through this, be sure that you're also participating and thinking about what words we're using, like arc and radial. These are simple things to kind of keep these top of mind for your children while they're working outside of a traditional school, and it's really simple. One of the things that I know a lot of my friends who are parents that are working with their children at home for the first time as teachers per se, what they're finding is that they're struggling to think about how do I help my child not, forget the things that they've learned throughout the school year. The easiest thing to do is talk. That's what I find. The easiest thing to do is to just talk with one another, because the more you talk, the more that vocabulary increases, and that is going to help students retain things long term. So anywhere you can fit that in naturally, that's great. Don't force it, but definitely if you can use some vocabulary, feel free to do so. And here's the really cool part. Kids, I hope you're still creating. I hope you're still coloring. Here's the really cool part. Parents, as you're using that vocabulary, sometimes you're going to think that's over my child's head. But here's the great part about kids. They're going to ask, what does that mean? So engage them in a conversation about it. And that helps long term as well. Just some thoughts. All right, we're getting close to the end here on this leaf. Emma, this is looking amazing.
Thank you.
I really like this and how the pattern is starting to come through here. Remember, we want to see what you're doing too, so take a picture. Make sure you post it using hashtag #CreativeCampfire so that we can see what you're doing and what your designs look like. Because I have a feeling everybody's design is going to look so different and so beautiful. All right. And she's putting those finishing touches on. All right, so what's next? What do we do for our next step?
Okay, next step, we're going to take our Sharpie or pen or black colored pencil, whatever black medium you have.
Yeah, because I also have this pen here, right? And
Yes.
this will work?
Yes.
Yeah. This, by the way, is like an Inkjoy pen. Something that has more ink in it is going to be better than something like a ballpoint pen,
Yeah.
right? Okay.
So I'm using a Sharpie. You can use whatever you have, but we're gonna make a pattern similar to a mandala.
Okay. What is a mandala?
A mandala, it's typically using flowers. And it's also typically a radial design. It's a bunch of patterns that combine in some way.
Yes. So I'm going to include a link here, parents, to a whole unit on mandalas so that if you're interested in that, you can learn more. So, but essentially, it's a variety of patterns using lines and shapes.
Yeah.
In more of a radial design, right?
Yes.
So you can use curves, you could use scallop shapes, you could use complete circles, you could use just plain lines. So Emma's going to demonstrate how you can do that.
I might start with like a circle with some scallops around it to make a kind of flower-like shape.
Okay. Huh, okay. Now a lot of people will use mandalas for meditative purposes, that it helps your brain to relax a little bit.
Yeah.
What's next?
Maybe we come out with some wavy lines.
I like this. So once she picks, here's the thing about a mandala, my friends, and you can do this however you like. Again, it's going to look different for everybody, and that's great. When you're working on this kind of an activity, you're going to pick a shape and you're going to do it in a pattern for the whole circle around.
Yeah.
So notice how she picked the scallop for the flower, and then she picked a kind of wavy line. Well, then she just did the wavy line all the way around. So whatever you pick, do it all the way around one time. Okay? Yes. Now what?
And then maybe I do circles to connect.
Okay. Yep. So each of the circles are also going to connect with each other.
Yes.
So that becomes kind of like a ring.
Yeah. And not everything has to be exactly the same. Like some of my circles are kind of oblong or something like that. They're smaller than the other ones, but nothing has to be perfect.
You got it.
In this.
And play with the sizes as well. So she's doing some pretty large circles now, but I think it would be also really interesting the next time or the next rung to do something either that's a small circle or to do something that is a different kind of line that's also small.
Yeah.
So that you have different sizes of everything.
Yeah.
Keep going.
I don't know. These mandalas are also a great opportunity to be collaborative.
That's true.
And help with patterns and ideas.
Or even just to share it with friends over, a virtual hangout or FaceTime or anything like that. All right, so you're going to do small dots in between. I would actually fill in that whole area with small dots.
Ooh.
Because, like that. And then you can do maybe a scalloped connector or something to the top.
Yeah.
So Emma's going to continue doing her design. I want you to continue doing your design. And then when we come back, we're going to show you the next step, okay? Remember, we want to see what your designs look like. So take a picture, use #CreativeCampfire. See you in a minute.
Do you remember those long summers? We played water fights, stayed up at night and dreamed of ways.
Okay, so Emma, go ahead and show us your design. I want to see yours too. Yeah, looks great, right? Okay, what's the next step?
Okay, so for those of us who don't have a popsicle stick, now would be the time that you can fill in that bottom part of your leaf, that stem. But after you do that, you're going to take some scissors.
If you have young children, my friends, make sure that you do this part with them.
Yeah.
Again, Emma is 10, so she's going to cut out her own.
And we're going to cut out our leaf.
Mm-hmm.
And if you filled in that bottom stem, then you want to cut the stem out along with the leaf.
Mm-hmm.
I happen to have popsicle sticks, so I am not going to cut out my stem.
Can I show you an easier way to cut that out?
Yeah.
Little trick, so that you're not dealing with the whole piece of paper.
Cut it like,
Go all the way around it, like a circle,
and then cut out the little.
and then cut out the little parts.
Yeah.
Here you go. This is great. So make sure that you take your time to cut out your leaf if you're cutting it out yourself. Parents, if you're doing this with your children, just go ahead and make sure that you get as close to that edge as possible because it's going to make it look even better. Okay? All right, and then what do we do?
So, for those of us who have popsicle sticks, we're going to take some glue. So,
take what you've got.
Yep.
You have Scotch tape, use Scotch tape.
Yep.
You've got glue, go ahead and use the glue.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't have any regular glue, so we're using the tacky glue that we have, the craft glue, which is fine. Oh, you gotta open the top. There you go. Oh my, I know, Mom embarrasses. All right, and then again, we're just using enough, my friends. We're not gonna make this a whole gluey mess, right? What's the phrase?
A dot is a lot, a glob is a slob.
That's right. And if you have a glue stick, just one swipe will do you. That's fine. And then you're gonna put that right on the back there. Adhere it, let that dry, and then show us your final leaf. Okay, be sure to take a picture of your finished product. Put #creativecampfire so that we can all see it. And we'll see you soon.